Welcome to the Fishbowl with everybody. My name is Chief here, and joining me today is Jalen. We're going to be doing our recap of the 2023 and 2024 Ragin Cajun women's basketball season here. So this is one thing that this is our first time actually going live off of YouTube. So congratulations to the Fishbowl for actually going live here on YouTube before we start taking care of everything else here. But we're doing this kind of little series here, kind of recapping what we got going on across the world of Raging Cajuns athletics here. We have a lot to talk about in this show here today here. So we're gonna recap how Gary Broadhead did this past season and see what y'all opinions are on that here. We left y'all some polls. We'll see what y'all have answer to those polls once we get down into it here. So thinking about it here for 1 second or whatever here is just look at this real quick. So Alyson Habetz became the new Raging Cajun head softball coach for Ragin Cajuns Softball. So we'll talk here on this edition as well a little bit here and see what everybody's opinion is. Without further ado, let me introduce everybody to Jalen. How you doing today, Jalen?
Hey, I'm doing well, Chief. It's always a great day to be the whole praise page. You know what I'm saying, Chief?
Yeah, I got you, Jalen. So let's talk about women's basketball here real quick. Doing the recap, the review, and we'll get into the softball thing. What is some things that you think will come about uh this? Like, how you think Gary Broadhead did this past year for the Raging Cajun women's basketball?
I think it was it's up down here for women's basketball team. I think with them having a lot of young players, having Randy Williams, who has been a great player years ago since she was a freshman. The injuries kind of took the course of her career, but she still played a great ball. Trying to get her, they're just getting back on the court. I think it's really up and down here, honestly. I think that with the Sun Belt having so many great teams. I mean, I think it was the Marshall team that lost once the Sun Belt game one year, if I'm not mistaken.
You're correct on that.
For a bigger school, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, Sun Belt had a lot of great women's basketball action this year. It was sad to see Paige lose in the Sun Belt tournament, but ultimately, I don't think this year was their year, especially when you look at the records of the team. They lost two teams and won. They lost a lot of games they usually lose as you look at the past teams. But I just think the teams brought in trying to get these new girls acclimated to the team next year will be I think she'll get better even.
So something that I'll just pull up our poll here on Twitter to see what people how people voted and stuff here. So the majority of people have voted. So we do A as an option, B, C, D, or F to see where the fan base is at or what other people might actually think about this here. We'll do other ones coming up here, but I think it's important to know that this is one poll on one social media site. We also have one on Instagram that I will do it fell on my phone here basically. So on Twitter, 45.5% voted C, 36.4% voted B. DRF got 18.2% here. Now, it was a 500 year in conference for the Cajuns, roughly around. So they finished with a conference record of 10-8, which was 55.6% winning percentage, basically. So overall record at 58.8%, basically winning percentage, 20 and 14 on the year. So about, like, I say C is a good grade for the Raging Cajun women's basketball team for this past season, because you look at it, that is one thing that you think can, help you or hurt you if you look at that when it comes to recruiting, because people want success. Like, you're going to have success right out the gate in today's college athletics, because the way the transfer portal is, the fan base is going to want you to win now. Whenever you post records of like 20 and 18 or 15 and 15 over or conference records, you're going to have trouble. And that's just something that has happened here. The 500 winning percentage isn't going to cut it anymore with these Sun Belt programs, because it's a win now mentality that you have to have here. just the way it is. The buildup of your roster isn't really the same here. But I do think coaches should have at least 2 or 3 years still, regardless, because to implement your philosophy and have guys in there, because you're going to have people that's going to want to stay there 3 or 4 years and want to wear the name across the chest and not really chase money too much here. But the transfer portal still new for a lot of these teams. We're still trying to figure out how to navigate it. And you seem like, for example, we've seen teams fall flat on their face thinking they had the best transfer portal class, and they was not nowhere near the top here. Like we saw that with Texas A&M football this time last year. People were raving about Texas A&M football with the transfer portal coming in, and it just wasn't meant to be that way. So looking at this here, I think the Cajuns, finishing middle of the pack here, it can go either way here. I think there's a little bit more pressure on Gary Brawhead compared to the other coaches in the athletics, Ragin Cajun athletics building there, because he's just been here longer, and we're starting to they want more out of him. What you think, Jalen?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they want more out of him. I would say he's a good coach. I mean, for his few years they started out with the Cajuns, they were doing pretty good. And as far as I know, you're saying we're talking about like recruiting and transfer portal. For those who don't know, the way and age is your best friend at this point because NIL is transfers. I mean, it's just transfers to make up the local team. Transfers for a change recruiting. So I think he's done a pretty good job with that so far. He's got to keep building on that. But yeah, I think the fans, especially expect more, expect a better season. I think a C is a good grade. I would say. Um, Now, do I expect him to get a C next year? Absolutely not. I expect him to be way higher than that because the team does have talent, especially a girl like Tania Robinson returning on the team late. But they meet on the team. I mean, two girls right there with both the end of the season this past year were just Katie's four. So, I know they lost like oh, gee, that's crazy. I can't even feel like I can't remember her name right now. One of the star players from LCA, he transferred to Penn State. I'm a liar. My name is drawing a blank here right now. Tamara Johnson
Yeah.
transferred. We still have other girls that are coming in that want to play, want to be, part of this team. So I think a C is a great grade for now, but the more is yet to come for this with this basketball team and coach run.
So on Instagram, we're gonna pull up this poll here real quick here. Just trying to see here. Okay, so we asked the question here. I have it pulled up. So let's see how the people voted here. Let's view the results here. Wow. So more people, 67% say D or F. Now, basic basis of note here, our demographics for our social media channels or platforms are different. So majority of our people on our Instagram page are younger in age. Okay, so like they're college kids and people in high school. That's who follow the fishbowl. Our Twitter followers are a little bit older, like in their 30s and 40s. So they're putting D or F. Like they went a D that far down. 33% said A. A little bit of a for A, I think, with this past season. I mean, 10-8 doesn't really get you an A grade in my book. I think C is a really appropriate answer, but the majority of them went D. Like we got like a 15% there, C, and yeah. So D or F was overwhelming the majority there. So that's interesting. To say the least there. They probably mean like a D grade. I don't think it'd be an F grade because F would be kind the bottom of the barrel, like bottom three Sun Belt. That would be constitute me an F grade if I was rating this on my own personal um grading scale for these teams here. So we're doing all these teams every single week here. We did Educated Men's Basketball. We did have our episode on that on our Facebook page here. We've been kind of moving around a lot during the summer, so I haven't been able to post on YouTube as much. So that's why I'm doing this live show here on YouTube to kind of give people an insight of what these grades are. We'll probably keep doing this because this is kind of fun. I like live streaming on YouTube. This is fun. But like we did football, basketball, baseball. We're gonna do baseball. Coming up next week, baseball and then softball. We'll look at both those two and see how um the polls are going to show here. So we'll do one on Instagram and we'll do one on Twitter, and we even ask Facebook what they think here. Sometimes we get responses or not, because Facebook's been kind of weird with our reach lately. They've been kind of docking us for whatever reason, but Twitter and Instagram we get good results from them. So we'll probably have something there for next week's show to incorporate it around, which we have bigger audiences on Twitter and Instagram here. So uh it's gonna be fun for sure to see how this all goes here. So Jalen, Alyson Habetz, new head coach. What you think?
I think it was the perfect hire for the Cajun softball program. Seeing Jerry Glasgow go to Texas Tech, it's kind of heartbreaking. I'm not gonna lie, because he coached these girls, got them into hosting a regional after so many years. But to bring Allison in there was perfect. Former Ragin Cajun basketball player. We talking about broadhead basketball player and softball player. So I think that it's the perfect fit for the Cajuns. I think, and then the time that it took for Brian Maggard, the athletic director, to hire somebody, he's quick. I'll say that much. He's quick. He did a great job. And I think she's gonna change the softball program. I know her and Jerry, she different coach, but he played for his team even back then when he was USL to now as the head coach. I think she's gonna change things for
So
but shout out to what brought him. He was
yeah.
Bristol Park. At least she got everything. It's all my own eyes. So it's great. It's a great game.
So
Yeah.
if you look at resumes, she's got probably one of the best resumes in all of college softball. Coaches from Alabama came out of the woodwork and was like endorsing the hire. You've seen Florida's head softball coach endorse the hire. There multiple people came out and endorsed this hire. We've said this year that she would be our number one person on this list to be the person that we would hire if anybody off that list that the advocate was putting out and other people. She was the one that they needed to get, and you know what, they did a really good job with it, turning it around that quick. I did hear there was some rumblings going on from some sources of mine uh that Gary Glasgow would leave only for one person, and she was the one person. Now, I don't know if he left because Maggard had wanted her or whatever it was, or there was some kind of internal communication with each other before Glasgow left, or Glasgow was intent on leaving and was notifying her. But the story that she gave to the public didn't really make that seem like it was the case. But I thought that was kind of worth mentioning here.
I can tell you this too. That when Coach Glasgow had his press conference at Texas Tech, he mentioned that he was happy that she was the one to be his successor, taking over the Ragin Cajun when softball.
Yeah, and like he was only like so maybe he so like some people are wondering like why the Texas Tech job's a step down from Louisiana. Like I mean that's kind of interesting that you would say that there. But look, Glasgow's thinking that he would have more revenue over there, more money definitely being put into softball here. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of these transfers heading over there, like Sam Landry and um Lauren Lauren Alred, Valdez, Maya Davis. It could be any one of those. That a couple of them probably will end up over there if I had to make a prediction of what's going on with that there. So with that being one of the cases there, it's gonna be an interesting schedule for sure to see what happens. I think it's an interesting take for sure. To see for him to take that job was I think it's a risk, honestly. But because Glasgow's not in his like younger days of being a coach either. He seems like he's kind of up there. This is gonna be like his last stop before he goes back up to Indiana, which is what he said he wanted to finish his career at anyway. Um in the years coming. That was part of what he wanted to put there. So, or what he put out there for us to hear and stuff. So, I don't know what his, goal is at Texas Tech. Maybe just to build him up and then leave and then, just enjoy like his time that he has left in his hometown kind of area, kind of like the home state kind of thing. Like, you're coming home and that kind of thing. So that's a part of it that I think was interesting about him taking the Texas Tech job for softball for sure. I mean, hey, it's fun, dude. I mean, it's fun to cover the softball sport these days. And it's not really been as hampered as much as the other ones, but there's still a little bit of movement going on there. Um, I think it is a good discussion to have there. So I do think that Gary Glasgow did a little underachieve a little bit. If you look at the predecessors of the Raging Cajun softball program, Yvette Gerard brought the Cajuns to the World Series. Michael Lotief, and he brought them to the World Series. And Gary Glasgow only got to the Super Regional. That was his highest peak that he had got there. So whenever you're looking at these coaches here and how they stack up with each other, you're always going to be judged by your predecessor. Whoever came before you is going to be the one that you're judged against. So that is something that will be tough for anybody to deal with, honestly. So it's hard to replace someone that did really good. So how do you think Allison's going to do, Jalen?
think she's gonna do a great job. And I know you're talking about Yvette Gerard and everything, but Allison, she was part of. I'm not going to say it here because I'm not 100% sure, but I remember her saying in her presser that she was part of the Ragin Cajuns softball team that made it to the World Series. So
The first one, yeah.
giving that experience, yeah. So giving that experience and her to pass along to great players and players trying to come in because she's going to get some players coming in because of that great resume that she has coming from a big time school. And just the story about her being a hometown kid from the area, from Indiana, I think it's perfect. So I think and also she said too, when she introduced that she don't like to lose. She want to win championships. So with that mindset and that mentality, I think she's gonna softball team is gonna have some big expectations from the get go because of her coming in with her resume and what the team did the previous year. But they can exceed the expectations tremendously.
She's
Looking forward
yeah,
to it from every season.
she's won a national championship as an assistant coach for Alabama softball. And they like she's been there multiple times. This wasn't this one trick pony just doing one thing. She's been there multiple times as an assistant coach during the Alabama softball program. So I mean, she's going to probably bring the Cajuns maybe back to that level. I could see that happening very much under her. That like this hire compared to the Glasgow hire was, I think, a little bit better. Like resume wise, she had a better resume than Glasgow did as an assistant coach, even whenever he came from Georgia, because he had stops before that too. And she just has a better resume on paper when you look at it. Now, being an assistant coach and being the head man is a whole different ball game. But I think she's gonna have like a lot of the fans were concerned about like when like and it starts like it's gonna be this big mass exodus like football. And I think what happened with football was the case search for a head coach like they did with Billy Napier, which got them over there. And we saw the mass exodus that happened with that there. But what happened was you only saw like 4 or 5 players at the portal. What was it, 6 now? I think Sam Landry just made it 6.
Yeah, so
I, yeah. So like the pitching staff got hurt because you got Clarisado in there, Sam Landry. They're both in the portal, so they might come back. And she did say that she did message both everybody that's in the portal. They're trying to come get them to reel them back in. You know, they're trying to make the best choices for them, their own personal lives and stuff. So I think that is something that we're gonna have to see. Can she rein some of these back in here? Samantha Grader already committed to another school. That is something that's already happened. So it's gonna be interesting to see how many she can get back in softball or even get any at all at this point. But I think the Cajuns roster as a whole is still a lot of talent there. regardless if you lost Maya Davis and these other ones here. I don't think like the cupboard's not bare. I think they can very well make a run next year and win the Sun Belt for sure. I don't think they're gonna give the title of the Sun Belt anytime soon, like regular season or they didn't win the conference title this past year, but they lost it to Texas State. But I think the standard's still gonna be there, and I think they will be able to reach that standard very much so with this new coaching staff coming in and this new head coach. So I think because Alyson knows the culture around here. She's been around Acadiana. She's from here. She's one of the area's people. So that's gonna be a big impactful thing whenever you're talking to these high school coaches and stuff with the freshmen, because you have that relationship. You know, she's kind of a legend around Ragin Cajun softball and women's basketball for that matter. So it's gonna be one of those will be very important to see how everything comes along and see how that develops there, because that is a very big recruiting tool whenever you want to play for like someone that is just like you and your family. And Louisiana's got a lot of good softball players down here, rich in talent for sure. How you think that's going to play out, Jalen? Do you think that she'll be able to recruit very very well? Because I think she will.
She was absolutely, especially being from the area. And probably in her resume, everything on that sheet of paper, all the experience she had. I think she did get a lot of players. They're 100% coming out of Louisiana. I think she'll get some out of state players too, just because of her previous stints at Alabama and everything. I think a lot of players want to come play for Alyson Habetz. I think so. Um, Only time will tell. We have to wait and see. But I think she'll get a strong talk class. Say she's gonna get her first recruiting class. It's gonna be strong. I can't wait to see. Can't wait to see.
Yeah, I agree. I'm kind of excited to see because like if you haven't noticed, like the social media team for Raging Cajun softball has been like blowing this up like a lot. If you look extreme, there's a lot of energy in this program right now, and it's exciting to see. And for good reason, like I mentioned earlier. I mean, like she has a great resume. Just as a coach, if you ignore the fact that she was a player on a women's college World Series team that the Cajuns took to Oklahoma City, you know, that's something that you can look at and be like, okay, dang, she's gonna be really good. Just looking at that there, but you know, I think that's all we got for this episode on Jalen.
I think so. I think so. But like I said, congrats to Allison. I like to see Coach Broadhead do with the reputation women's basketball team. You know, we're just gonna continue here, Chief. It's great for education fans.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here in the future, and we'll probably watch this episode and see how well we did reviewing. We'll do some previews for football probably within a month and a half from now, maybe. Thank y'all for tuning in here to this episode here of the Fishbowl Sports Radio. Hope you have a great and wonderful day, and we're gonna see you here next time on the Fishbowl Radio.